another name who, it's not that he recently passed away, it's that we recently found out. Apparently it happened last spring. Rene Goulet. Any stories about Rene Goulet, Sergeant Jacques Goulet?
Yeah, we had talked about him not long ago, saying, gosh, he doesn't come back around and do any of the reunions. We haven't seen him in a while. And then to find this out, the first time I saw him, the Legionnaires came into Indianapolis, and they were following some great heel teams like the Blackjacks and the Valiant Brothers. But it instantly perked me up because Don Fargo was the original partner. It was Sergeant Jacques Goulet of the French Foreign Legion and Private Don Fargo, right? And Fargo had been in Indianapolis, on and off for 10 years as part of the Hells Angels and the Chain Gang and all that shit. And he'd worked on top and everything. So everybody knew who he was, but they were a good looking, rough team. They did the good promos. Sarge had the fucking, gravelly voice and everything. And he legitimately did have a French accent. So that worked out. And then, of course, Fargo did what Fargo does and left the territory. And they brought in Soldier LeBoeuf, but he was, what was his name that more people would know him as? I can't remember. He worked in Tennessee for a while as the Russian Stomper. He was Maxime Zaranov LeBoeuf in the Maritimes. Anyway, he was a big fucker, so they were a good-looking team. So I'd gotten to see Goulet instead of Rene Goulet, who I'd heard as this babyface. I'd seen pictures in the magazines. He and Karl Gotch, of all people, were the WWF Tag Team Champions. Sergeant Jacques Goulet is the fucking rough French Foreign Legion fuck, right? And I just loved the Legionnaires. So fucking 10 years later, when I go to the WWF and he's an agent, it always tickled me. After that there is fucking Rene Goulet. He's got the tie on and the shirt and all the things that Vince made the agents wear. And he's just the nicest, friendliest guy. And I kept thinking of him taking the riding crop to Private Fargo and making him do push-ups. But Rene Goulet is the one who had the famous line about Doink the Clown. They used to put Rene on the headset sometimes in those early TV tapings, like in early 90s. And the headset communicates with the truck from the gorilla position with what's going on. Well, one time they've got a production dead time where they're changing tape or they've got some issue and the crowd's getting restless. So they this was when Doink the Clown was just starting and the people didn't know that he was a heel, right? He was just the clown that was going out and entertaining people in the audience. He was going to do something dastardly later. But they're in Philadelphia and they send Doink out. You've heard of this, right? They send fucking Doink out to entertain the people while they're down for production. And goddamn, he goes up in the bleachers and the people are hot and they're tired of waiting. And it's a long TV taping and they fucking start fucking with Doink. And they're grabbing his fucking clown hair and they're fucking playing grab ass with him. And then somebody actually grabs him as he's going up the general admission seats, right? The fucking bleachers. Somebody grabs his foot and he goes down. And Rene Goulet is on headset and he's telling the TV truck, right? He's like, "The clown is down. The clown is down." Hey, fucking, they had to go rescue goddamn Doink from the sports fans of Philadelphia. But Rene, he was one of the junior agents in that he, would do some of the matches maybe on TV, work with some of the job guys. He would also, I think, switch up and be one of the guys that might check up at the box office, along with like the other town. If they had two towns and Dave Hebner was in one, Rene might be doing the box office checkup. So he wasn't like, Pat Patterson, the senior official, but he had been there for years and done a good job. And Vince rewarded guys like that, like Steele and Lanza and all those guys with, positions after they got out of the ring.
Do you think a lot of people don't realize just how big a star he was in various places? The AWA, Indianapolis. Obviously, he had that run as the tag team champion with Karl Gotch and the WWF. He was in a lot of different places, but a lot of people just think of him as the agent with the hair.
Well, that's because, once again, pre-video. His whole in-ring career mostly came pre-videotape. And he was a good-looking guy with a nice body and the baby face, look in the 60s or whatever. And he did work almost everywhere, but nobody sees that anymore. That's why Wild Bull Curry isn't in the Hall of Fame, for heaven's sake.